Hey guys, it's Connor Kakona here, back again after a little while, but to come back to a style of video that I've done before and people seem to like a good amount, and I was very happy to see that because I was a big fan of the idea myself when I first came up with it. But today we're going to be doing a search for the worst, and to follow in the themed, in the same way that last time was a Mei Sakurajima themed type thing, today we're going to be doing a Demon Slayer themed figure unboxing. So today it's going to be all bootleg figures that we're going to be looking at, although I did buy the official version of the one that was bootlegged, if that makes sense, to have a comparison. But once again, we're going to be searching for the worst, and one of the new aspects that will come from the fact that this is going to be a a follow-up to the first one, is the fact that we're going to be asking the question, well, is it worse than the first Mei Sakurajima figures that we got? Have we found something that can now be crowned the new worst? So without further ado, we'll go ahead and start talking about the figures. So we've got 1, 2, and 3 total figures. They're all just kind of stupidly wrapped very cheaply in plastic, and we can go ahead and start getting them opened. Hopefully it's not ridiculously loud. Ooh, I dropped that. First off, we have my personal favorite, and that is Shinobu from Demon Slayer. So hopefully while I do this, if I'm somewhat intelligent, I have B-roll going on, but the first thing I'd like to note is her feet holes are not lining up quite right. Hopefully, I'm probably gonna have to literally bend her legs, which is always great. You know what they say, you know, it ain't a good figure if you aren't having to bend their legs to get them to fit on it. But yes, the reason I bought this figure, and the reason I ended up actually finding this listing in general, is from this Shinobu figure, and it's the fact, if you look at her face, it's absolutely atrocious. She has a utterly hideous looking face. It does not look like the character. It looks like the character if she was missing many different chromosomes. Yeah, these were dirt cheap. I think I paid about $8 per, but in that we get a fun little thing to where I bought the actual version of the Shinobu, the very figure this is based off of. Can't you see the lovely similarity between these two? So we can go ahead and start getting that boxed open. And the reason I bought this was just because I wanted, at the time that I did this, I had a shelf that was largely Demon Slayer. It was about half Demon Slayer. Oddly enough, now by the time that I'm doing this, I've reorganized my shelves because, you know, I had stuff that I wanted to do, but they've been reorganized to where I no longer have that necessarily, but I can still undoubtedly find a easy home for Shinobu over here. Also, as you can see, this one did come with a box, while the unofficials did not. But when you open the package, you have 3 different bags in here. Shinobu comes decapitated for your joy, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what's up with figures and their heads coming off, but it does get it open a little bit more. Get the body out, and now the base. So an important first step, as we're getting this open correct, is going to be the question of, well, do the feet actually line up with the base? So we get big hole, small hole, and no, not quite, but easier. And then the head should just easily go in. Now, of course, again, this is the official, this is like a prize that you would get from it, but we can start seeing some immediate differences between these two. First off, the Shinobu that I have that is the official is noticeably larger than the cheap-ass ugly Shinobu. Second, the quality of like the coloring on her robe, because she's kind of got that like gradient style color, is far better on the official one, which I mean makes a ton of sense. You'd want it to be a lot better. But the two biggest things that I noticed on this is, one, Shinobu's face actually looks like Shinobu on the official one, while again, the other one looks like Shinobu's parents were cousins. And then secondarily is the fact that on the fake one, Shinobu's sword is, for some reason, bent in a way that it should never have been bent, while the official one, the sword, obviously made from higher quality plastics, ends up being far more solid. So, I would have to say this Shinobu is pretty rough, but worry not, my little boys and girls out there. Shinobu is not the only one, as you saw from the three figures. We've also got a Nezuko right here, and I can already tell, if you can see from her legs.
That was the move that made LeBron cry.
That's the base. I mean, I don't know how that's meant to work out. This was gonna have to do a little bit of bending on the legs, if you would. But you get them in there, and you got the lovely little Nezuko now. She's got a bit of a forward lean. And then finally, Tanjiro. And Tanjiro's sword has undoubtedly seen much better days. Remember, I have not done anything to these. These were how they were shipped. Obviously, I could do some things to improve them, but why would I do that? Because I'm literally looking for the worst. So, looking at Nezuko, Nezuko has a very low quality mold. You can literally see her face like melted out under her little bamboo shoot that she keeps in her mouth, and she looks like she's like sucking it, like, you know, the face whenever you're trying to like eat watermelon. That's kind of what it looks like right now. Her lips are just the strangest looking thing at the moment. But outside of that, for the most part, Nezuko looks like fine. It's just like everything looks cheap as shit, for sure. I'm not trying to say this is a high quality figure, it's worth your money. It looks cheap as shit, but it does look like Nezuko. Now, when we get to Tanjiro though, that becomes a very different story. Tanjiro has the low quality mold, on top of the fact that his face just doesn't look like Tanjiro. Everything is wrong. I don't know why. His nose just seems way too big. His mouth is odd. But the main part is his eyes. As an anime character, correct? Your eyes are kind of the biggest part of you. Of your face, at least. And if you can't get the eyes right, you pretty much get the entire character wrong. And Tanjiro goes to show that the eyes are undoubtedly important. Now, when I say this makes him look like Little Miss missing a chromosome Shinobu over there, no. I honestly think of this batch, Shinobu's the worst because Shinobu, for some reason, has an unseemly large forehead proportional to her, as well as the fact that her eyes make her look like an Alabama Hot Pocket little motherfucker. But Tanjiro's pretty bad too. He's seen better days. His sword is also completely unusable. Would highly not recommend that. But undoubtedly, the worst one here is Shinobu. Shinobu looks even worse, I think, because of the fact that I have her official figure to compare her to. Hopefully, I took the time to make B-roll of everything so you can kind of see it, but it's pretty bad. I mean, she's small, she's hideous, the paint job is done terribly, the sword is bent. I don't know what she's doing with her hand. Two of her fingers are like molded together. Like they didn't really seem to do a good job of showing that they're two distinct fingers. The whole job on Shinobu was just horribly, horribly done. Which again, I knew that when I bought these. I bought them for like $7 a piece. They came from China. I was not sitting down and going like, I'm going to get the best possible deal. This is going to be fantastical. No, I realized that these were garbage. But now the question comes, are these worse than the Mei Sakurajima figures? Yeah, they are. The Mei Sakurajima figures I paid more money for, which I think definitely had a direct, proportion to the quality of them. These were $7 each. I think I paid $15 for one of the Mei Sakurajimas and $25 for the other. So, you're literally looking at 2 to 3 times the price. So it kind of makes sense that they were a decent leap in quality. not only are these small, cheap, and crappy, they just look hideous. The May Sakurajima figures, if I put them on display from afar, you probably won't have a huge deal with them because they could kind of pull it off. You know, they wouldn't look great. No, you'd notice a difference, you know, but you could at least try and make the case they were fine. These are fucking awful. You cannot make that case. This is like everything God just despises. This is sin to its utmost degree. You put a Bible within 10 feet of these, they would fucking melt like they're from Indiana Jones. It's nuts. They're just awful, horrible, just terrible. Hopefully I can have some lovely little B-roll comparing the two, but understand, this Shinobu specifically, I kind of picked it out because, again, Shinobu is my favorite. I noticed it. It's rough, but it's not as though the other two are better either. These are all terrible, terrible figures. Complete waste of my money. But frankly, that's what we do here, is we waste my money. Yeah, God, I need to make better financial decisions. Well, everyone, I think that's I'm gonna go reflect. So hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. I know it's been a while since I made a video. I just didn't have a ton of inspiration. I had stuff that I was planning on doing. Like, I don't know if you guys see, there's an entire fucking shelf in the back that I set up. I'd been planning for a while to make a video on that, but I do have some actual videos coming up soon that I am hopefully making. The biggest part of video making that I struggle to do is actually the editing process. Recording's easy and fun for me. The editing makes me want to blow my brains out the shotgun. But that's everything for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Peace.